You are an empath and you've recently been hurt by a narcissist, do not allow that narcissist to change your perception on love or how you love. Continue to believe in love. And if you're the type that loves all in, continue to love all in. All right, guys. So if you are an empath, do not allow a narcissist to make you bitter. Don't allow a narcissist to make you bitter on love. Don't allow a narcissist to skew your perception of your identity as love itself. Why would this be the case? Because you're a fractal of source having a physical experience. The dominant frequency of source is love. This means your spiritual DNA is love itself. This is your true essence. Why would you allow a hurt person who is mentally ill to skew your perception of your true identity as love? Now, if we really want to go down the rabbit hole, we could say that you chose to meet this person before you decided to incarnate. You chose that person to teach you a lesson of love, teach you a lesson about your true identity as love. But next time, heal your trauma before starting that next relationship. That way you can start that new relationship from an empowered state with a sense of wholeness and completeness instead of a disempowered state where your trauma is just seeking validation from that old narcissistic archetype. Come on, you know when you're choosing a narcissist. Come on. Heal that trauma. That way your heart chooses that new person instead of your trauma choosing that new person. Yeah, 100%, guys. So when you are starting a relationship from a disempowered state, you are allowing your trauma to choose that person. Anytime your trauma chooses that person, that relationship is destined to be a short-term lesson instead of a long-term relationship. Yeah, we're going to say that one again. Anytime you allow your trauma to choose that person, that relationship is destined to be a short-term lesson instead of a long-term relationship. So this is why I'm always preaching shadow work, because a healed empath, also known as a super empath, has done the consistent shadow work, the consistent meditation, the consistent getting into alignment with their true essence as perfect, whole, and complete, the physical embodiment of love itself. Why? Because you're a source having a physical experience. And when this becomes your new identity, because you've healed the trauma that perverts that truth from you, you no longer attract narcissists because you're not a narcissist food, because you don't have trauma that's seeking their approval. A narc needs someone to seek their approval. They can't exist unless someone is seeking their approval. But when your level of self-love and self-worth is up here, you get an emotional manipulator stepping into your frequency that you don't need their validation. You have no issues kicking them the heck out of your vibrational frequency. Narcs are like bullies. They pick on the weak kid. They don't pick on super empaths. So this is why it's super important to do your shadow work, research healing childhood trauma, have a daily meditative practice. And, I've heard this argument that if you were raised by narcissistic parents, then they gave you your perception of love, which is obviously going to be a distorted and perverted concept of love. So you don't really know what love is. So it's not possible for you to heal because you don't know what love is in the first place, because you had a narcissistic parent teach you love. This is BS. Why? Because you are love. Your heart knows what love is. Your actual true identity is love. Why? Because the dominant frequency of source is love itself, and your source having a physical experience. So the heart is always the way back home. No matter what your concept of love is, the heart knows what love is. Obviously, it feels good to have a safe place to express yourself. Obviously, it feels good to not be controlled. Obviously, it feels good to be encouraged. Obviously, it feels good to be rooted onward for your highest success. Obviously, it feels good to be appreciated. The heart knows what love is. This is because you can't outrun your identity as source, because you are source. You couldn't get away from source if you wanted to, because you are source. This means you can't get away from love if you wanted to, because your identity is love. No matter who raised you, no matter what your parents are, your actual identity is love. You just have to go within and find it. So don't allow your unhealed trauma to skew your true identity as love itself. I hope this helps you guys. I love you. Namaste.